Hello and welcome to the Austin Addicts Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Keisha CG. I'm also an assistant for the Austin Action Festival, which is an annual festival that takes place in Austin, Texas. So I'm going to let my other co-hosts introduce themselves as well.
Ben, you're up. I'm last.
Okay.
I'm last.
Okay. My name is Lord Benjamin Nathaniel Reddick, aka the Violence Conductor.
And I am Danielle Cavanis Weatherford. I'm also the owner of the Rock Group and the Chief Creative Director for the Austin Action Fest. And Keisha, would you like to say anything else before I go?
No, I am good to go. You are set.
All right. All right, we have a special guest in the house. Action Addicts, you're not just tuning in to a regular podcast. We don't do regular here at the Austin Action Fest Action Addicts Podcast. You're stepping into a story that starts in a small North Carolina town in a tiny home packed wall to wall with 12 family members raised by a tribe of strong, warrior-hearted women. And at the center of it all, a little boy with a spark in his chest and a dream in his eyes. That boy is now Maurice Moore. And his story isn't just about Moore, it's so much more. More heart, more grit, more purpose, more action. From being cast in The Color Purple by Steven Spielberg, a life-shifting moment that ignited a fire to create and motivate pictures, a multi-award-winning production company with a global footprint stretching from Austin to Spain, Mo has never stopped moving, never stopped building, never stopped believing. But this just isn't a career. It's a calling. He's the founder of Breathe Acting Studio, where, yes, of course, he's teaching the craft, and he's breathing life into dreams, helping artists breathe through fear, breathe into power, and excel their truth. He's the executive VP of Black Indie Filmmakers Association and a fierce advocate for stories that connect, challenge, and change. And he's a man who builds community, not for the clout, but from conviction. And yet, from all the red carpets and the festival winds, Maurice Moore never forgets where he came from. Raised in poverty, but rich in love, his foundation was laid by his rock, his grandmother, Maggie Lee Moore, a woman of quiet strength and soul-shaking wisdom. That strength was passed down to his incredible mother, Catherine, and lives on in his daughter, Kiana, the beating heart behind every project, every frame, every dream he chases. As a mentor, Mo's compass points to legacy over likes. As a filmmaker, he crafts stories that move mountains and minds. As a man, he's fueled not by ego, but by purpose. And when you ask him what motivates him, first it is his beloved daughter, as I mentioned before, wanting to make her proud. We also believe when it comes to business and making an impact to others, the answer is in the name, Motivate Pictures, because Mo isn't here for trends. He's here to motivate change. One story at a time. So buckle up, Buttercup. That's what I say. Action Addicts, you're about to experience Mo energy, Mo wisdom, Mo storytelling, and yes, so much more. Give it up for the extraordinary Maurice Moore.
Woo!
Wow.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've never been introduced like that before, and I'm good to go home because I'm about to cry. So I don't even know if I can even finish this. Thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic. And bringing up my grandmother and my mom and my aunties and my daughter, that hit me already. So I'm grateful. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. It's really good to see you guys.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Turn it over to you, Keisha.
All right. That was amazing. Like always, Danielle, thank you so much. So Mo, whenever we start off our interviews, we want to hear like your origin story. We want to hear how you got into filmmaking. So can you tell us that? What was it that brought you into being a filmmaker?
Okay. So I'll try to make that part quick. So as you guys mentioned before, I was in the Color Purple. So this story is really interesting because I never had any desires to be an actor, and I became a filmmaker because I'm an actor. That movie was made in my hometown, and I was blessed enough to be a part of it. But so is my cousins and my brothers and a bunch of other folks that were there. And I had a really interesting opportunity to go from being an extra to having a significant part in the film and being there for several months. What happened was the folks that were there, I never thought that, hey, I really wanted to be an actor, but the people that were there treated me so much more than this little kid. So the stars and the celebrities that were there really embraced me and kind of treated me like a colleague. They would talk to me and share things with me, and I would spend time with these incredible people that you guys all know from the movie. And from 8 years old until I went to college, I knew that I wanted to be an actor, but I had no acting opportunities after The Color Purple. So from the ages of 8 to 20, I knew I wanted to be an actor. That was my focus and my goal, but I had no outlet to do it, but it was a part of what I was going to do. So I went to college, football scholarship, and I found out at 20 years old that I actually didn't read very well. I didn't read past the 5th grade level, so you couldn't be an actor if you couldn't read past the 5th grade level. I had a great opportunity that, if you want to talk about later, to become a better reader and then become a better actor. So I went to the Denzel Washington, Robert De Niro School of Acting because I watched movies all day, every day. That was my thing, and that's how I learned to train. And at that point in time, when I went off to another college and I really was able to train as an actor, got my theater degree, and I just wanted to be an actor, and I was going to move to LA or New York, but I had an opportunity to end up in Austin. And when I got to Austin, the challenges were I can be an actor, but there just weren't a lot of roles for people that looked like me in Austin, right? There weren't people making opportunities and creating and writing parts for me specifically. So it was important to me to figure out a way to work as an actor. So I wrote my first screenplay in college. And when I got to Austin, I started figuring out ways to create work for myself. So I started writing short films. I put together 2 different small independent production companies where I was just gathering any resources that I had from writers all the way down to editors. And I said, hey, we're going to start making some movies. And so I started writing stories so I can be an actor in them. Then I was an actor and a producer. And then ultimately, I wanted to direct. I was directing a lot of theater at the time, and I really felt like that I could do this. And so I started writing and directing and then acting, and it just kind of bloomed from there. So everything for me as a filmmaker started with me giving myself an opportunity to be an actor, because an actor was what I was doing first and foremost. And in order to get those projects off the ground for me to act, I had to create the whole world of filmmaking. And that's how I became the filmmaker and the producer that I am today. And acting is still probably first in my heart.
Okay, that was the question I was going to ask, but you kind of already answered it. Normally, I like to know, especially when people come on the show and they're multi-hyphenate, I want to know, what is that thing that you really have passion for, that you really want to do it? But it sounds like you kind of already answered it. It would be acting. If you could choose that one thing, it would be to be an actor.
Yeah, people ask me that all the time because I do a lot of those things. People go, what do you think you're best at? And what do you love to do? And I love all of them. Producing, I probably like the least, honestly, because it doesn't give me all the creative juices that I want. And then I got to go find money, and I gotta put everybody together and all those kinds of things. And I love doing that, but it's what I like the least because I'm on the creative side. Acting, I'm just a nut for it. Like I love being an actor. I embrace it. That's why I have Breathe. I love creating characters. I love storytelling as an actor. I love working with other artists in that way. Writing and directing, I'm incredibly passionate about. But the thing I think I do the best probably, and the thing that if I had to choose just one for the rest of my life, it would absolutely be acting.
Okay.
So I have a question really quickly. Quickly, because you mentioned breathe a second ago. And so when I think of breathe, I mean, obviously there's breathing, you're taking in breath, there's calming the mind and stuff like that. I'm curious on what it means to you to breathe.
It sounds simple, but it is the most important thing to me in life and in creativity. And that's why it's called Breathe. one of the things when I work with actors or I talk to actors, or even tell myself, one of the things that actors do is we forget to breathe in moments that we really need to breathe, or we don't know how to breathe properly because we're in our heads or we're in our bodies in a way that doesn't allow us to relax and enjoy the process in the moment. And so I'm always going, you're not breathing, you're not breathing, you're not breathing. And obviously they're breathing in a certain way, but not in a way where you can be relaxed to tell the stories that you want to tell and be the person in real life or the character that you absolutely are striving to be. And for me, whether I'm doing yoga or working out or directing or acting, I have to remember that breathing and breathing properly is what's going to help me do the best work possible.
Mm.
And it's important that artists actually know that, because we get so tight sometimes because we're trying to do it right or get it right that we forget to breathe. And it's the lifeline. It is truly the lifeline to success in all areas to me. And I know that sounds kind of simple because we're breathing, but not a lot of us really understand the importance of breathing correctly.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it is a
that's
lifeline to
interesting.
everything. Yeah.
I've got to breathe right now because I don't know if you saw my face about 2 minutes ago. Like everything was fine until we started doing the show, and then someone is just banging on the outside of my house. Someone was trying to get my attention, and I'm like, I'm working. It's like there's 1 hour where I need you to not make a bunch of noise over and over again because I ignored them. And they did it right as we're kicking the show off. So
That's
right
funny.
now, this is me doing my woosah to get back in the zone. Continue.
All right, Keisha, it's throwing it back to you. Thank you for answering that. That's great. It's truth.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for talking about breathe. And I wanted us to also share some information about that. Can you tell us what all breathe has to offer for actors?
Yeah, absolutely. So Breathe, I've Breathe has officially been around since 2014, once I moved back to Austin from Los Angeles. But as a teacher, I've been teaching for 30 years. I'm really old. And so when I created Breathe back here, my goal and my number one focus was, I felt like before I moved to LA, I lived in Austin, then I moved to LA, and then I moved back to Austin. And the talent pool that was here when I lived in Austin in the late 90s, early 2000s, I thought was tremendous. And so I knew that there was a lot of talent here. And so to come back here and be a part of helping the push for actors and artists was something I really wanted to do. And so Breathe was a part of that for me, is helping actors grow into being not only the best actors they can be, but my goal is that they can go toe to toe with major movie stars. Like my brain works in that way, to where the under fives or the extra stuff doesn't mean anything to me. It's how do we get you to a place to where you have theater training or classical training right here in your own backyard, so you have the confidence and the ability to where when you get a significant part, that you can grow into that and really go toe to toe with the opportunity to work with some of these major actors. And so I teach Breathe in that manner, right? So it's important that we create that. And I teach 8-week sessions year round, except for when I'm in film production, which is also challenging because I'm the only focused teacher there. So when I'm in the middle of a movie, I can't teach, and that becomes kind of a thing. I have to shut Breathe down for several weeks or a few months, and then I have to come back. But I teach actors from all ages. The focus right now, because I teach in the evenings, usually around the youngest I have a 17-year-old now, all the way up to 70, 80. And we train in my own practice. I have a patent method called the Mo method. And I now teach that specifically. And that allows actors to it's the 5 elements of truth. And that really teaches actors based on my understanding of, if we master all 5 of these elements, you become the actor that you truly are striving to be. But in order to get to that point, I believe that mastering each one of those 5 elements is the key to that. And that's the 5 elements to truth. So that's what I teach at Breathe. And no matter what level you come in at, I work with all different levels at the same time on either night that I teach, because I'm more of a one-on-one, very hands-on teacher. So whatever level you come in on, whatever work I give you, I give it to you specifically. And everything that you learn, you can learn from being a beginner all the way up to an incredibly experienced actor. And that really works for the team. And we've built a really great family at Breathe. Breathe has done really well. And we have a core group of people that are just passionate about working with me and working at Breathe. And I don't consider Breathe just a studio. Breathe is a family. And anybody that you who's worked at Breathe, they know that they're family. They come to my house and we eat brunch and we hang out and we go to movies. Like it's a real family. Like it's important to me.
Awesome. Actually, you said the 5 elements. It made me think of like 5 deadly venoms. Then it made me think of the five elements of hip hop. So 5 comes up a lot when it comes to the core and the elements of things. That's actually really awesome. And just totally unrelated to all this, I see the Kobe Bryant book behind you. I happened to, I think this morning I put up a post about Kobe Bryant and how I didn't get the inspiration from other, like I'm not a big basketball fan. Like I played, but I didn't watch a lot of it. I wasn't a huge fan of his when he was alive, but I've been learning so much more about him and the Mamba mentality after he passed. So I have a lot more respect for him now that I know so much about him. Like, what's something in that book that you have back there that like why is that on your shelf right behind you? What's going on with that?
You know, what you said is actually very similar to me. Like I'm an MJ fan, Michael Jordan fan, because I'm older, so I'm a junkie for Michael. Michael's here, right? So Mike's here. And Kobe, when he was playing, I was not a fan so much simply because of the comparison to Michael Jordan, right? But not because he wasn't great. And the later stages of his career, and then certainly after he passed, I made sure I spent time learning about the man, and then the Mamba mentality certainly became a part of that. But what he went through, what he had to do to focus to become great, everybody can't do. It's one of those things to where he understood who he was and what his objective was, and he wasn't going to let anything, anybody, or any situation keep him from doing that. And in a very humble way of me saying that is very much me, because I was not supposed to come from where I came from and do some of the things I've been able to do. And I am just that guy that no matter what, if it's going to get done, and it whatever the challenges are, I'll figure it out. So I don't rest until I figure those things out. And Kobe is the very definition of that for me. And I am such a fan in the last 5 years of him, the man that I'm learning way more than any basketball work. Like I watch him and I watch highlights and say, Kobe was great. He was dope. That's not the dude that I'm supporting. I'm supporting the dude mentally and emotionally that went through whatever he needed to get to that point, and it inspires me and motivates me. So I get my motivation anywhere that I truly can, because I want to be a motivator, and I want to be motivated by individuals that are somewhat like-minded to my process, and that's what's in that book.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think one of the stories that really made me respect him and Michael Jordan was they were talking about the two of them discussing how a game between them would go, and they were like doing it on a sheet of paper or like in their minds. And I'm going like, that's crazy. Like that's kind of wild. But the fact, like the dedication to your craft and to whatever it is you're doing, to take it that seriously. I've learned in later years from running a business and being involved with people in bigger endeavors, that's rare.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. That's who you want to be, and that's what you want on your team. So yeah.
So when we talk about what happens at Breathe, that's something that I preach all day, every day, every class. I want artists in general to know, not just actors, but artists in general to know, if you want to get to a certain level, you have to do the work. And every now and then I run into actors who like the idea of being successful, like the idea of making a certain amount of money, like the idea of being a movie star, as opposed to mastering your craft. And when I talked about my 5 steps before, I said we have to master all 5 of them. You have to master the first one before we go to the second one. Master that in order to get to the level that you really, truly want to get to. And that part is truly crucial to me when it comes to who we want to be in life in general, as opposed to I like doing this and it's a hobby, but I want to have all the success that comes with the hobby, as opposed to I want to be on the level that truly separates me from everyone else. And in order to do that, we got to put in the work. So I say, hey, if you want to be a better actor next week than you are tonight, Tuesday night, you came in and you did your work. In order for you to be a better actor next Tuesday, you have to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and again Tuesday before you come to class. And if you work that much, you'll be a better actor next week than you were tonight. But you can't go home Tuesday night and then work on your scene or your monologue on Sunday night or Monday, thinking that you're going to come in with all these incredible new ideas and things are going to, it won't happen. Now you're going to fake it and you're trying to push something. But if you really want to master something, you got to do that work no matter what. You can't have excuses. We can't make reasons why we're not getting the work in. And that's what Kobe and Mike, that's what they say to me. And that's how I kind of approach every day of my life and everything that I'm trying to accomplish.
So do you have, so Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, I used to play basketball. So both of them were people that I really loved watching.
For the record, Mo, there's nothing that Daniel has not done.
It sounds like, man, it's in houses. like I get it, dude.
You know what it is? I'm really curious, and I love to try to master everything. I can't. But I'm kind of 007-ish, you know, at times. Like so there you go. Like martial arts. Do you have any martial arts background? Because that's kind of what happens in the martial arts world as well. Stage, move.
So what's really interesting about that, and Ben, we should really talk, because it has been an itch that I've been wanting to scratch for my entire life. So I started out 6, 7, 8 years old in some martial arts classes. And it was something I really loved. And by the time I got to maybe 10, my mom took me out. We really couldn't afford it. That's really what it kind of came down to. And it has always been something I've been incredibly passionate about. I'm a Kung Fu theater guy. I'm teaching, watching the old black and white black belt theater, Bruce Lee, Chunky, and Nut. And I just never was able to get back to doing that. But it has always been a passion for me. But I also understand the discipline that it takes. I've always knew the discipline and understood the discipline that it takes to master, to get to that certain level, to grow through your belts. And that's always been maybe a subconscious motivator for me, because it is something that I've always wanted to get back to and do, but also always respected and understood from a young age to now. So in some sort of way, I believe that I am connected to that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. You know, Keisha, I don't know if you have something you want to go to. I know Joe has some. Joe Barajas is one of our team members as well. Yep, we miss Joe. Joe's at a wedding, getting ready to be at a wedding this weekend. But he wanted us to tell you that he's sorry he's missing you, and much love and respect is what he also says. He wanted me to ask you. You know, you have Antioch, right? And you have your Motivate, right? Do you still have Antioch? Anik.
Sorry.
Anik.
Yes, it's Anik. And everybody says it's Antioch because they don't know, and that makes all the sense in the world. But just real quick, Anik is my daughter's name spelled backwards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Her name is Kiana.
Oh, yeah.
Her name is Kiana, and it's her name spelled backwards because, as you say, everything I do is for her. And so I had Anik before I had Motivate, and it was what I was producing under when I was in Los Angeles. And so it is there. It's Motivate, umbrellas, kind of all the things I'm working on. So, but right now the primary focus is Motivate.
All right, so I remember Anik is unique, so it'll stay in my
unique.
head. So
exactly right. Motivate.
I'm motivated. I'm gonna pause on this just for a moment because what I want to ask is, how did the the Spain piece of this get started?
Yeah.
So when I lived in Los Angeles, and really kind of starting out, and this was early 2005-ish, 6-ish or so. I was working as an actor, and then I spent some time at and with some filmmakers at NYFA, New York Film Academy. And that's where I met two of my best friends in the entire world to this day, Alex and Frank Rios, who helmed from Barcelona, Spain. And they were also at NYFA. And they cast me in one of their short films, one of their early short films. And the moment that I came on set for that, we started talking movies, and we just did not stop. And these are two of the most talented individuals, directors and cinematographers that I've ever met in my entire life, even at that age. And we had such a connection in how we felt about film and cinema that we knew we had to continue to work together. So we went to a lunch. I said, hey, let's go to lunch. Everybody goes to lunch in LA. Let's go to lunch. And we went to Patty's. And we were in Burbank. We went to Patty's Patty Melt shop. It was really dope. And we said, hey, I really want to make movies. I want to do these kind of movies. They said, I want to do that. I said, tell you what, no matter what happens, even if you guys are in Barcelona, we're going to team up and we're going to do movies together. They were in LA for the next 2 years before they had to leave based on their visa. I was in LA for 6 more years. And as soon as I produced my first short film, I flew those guys in from Barcelona to do that film with me. I could have anybody in LA, and I flew those guys in from Barcelona to do my first short film that was nothing that I paid for. That was meaning like it was just hey, I just want to make a movie and here's what I'm trying to do. And I brought those guys in and they crashed at my apartment and we hung out for 2 weeks. When they come over, they have to be over for a certain period of time. And we made our first short film. And every movie I have done since 2006, they have done with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's a trusting, but as well, trusting relationship.
100%. And they would come in back and forth to LA. And then once I moved back to Austin, they come back and forth to Austin. I've made movies in Barcelona. And that's how this whole thing started and created. So Alex Rios, who is a terrific director, who's getting ready to direct the next film I'm producing, but a heck of a cinematographer, he basically oversees everything that's in Barcelona. Frank is now here in the States. He lives in New York. I was with him about 2 months ago. So Frank is in New York, Alice is in Barcelona, and I have a team over there that Alex helped me to put together. I got an editor and makeup artists, other directors and writers that are all there. So I'm able to make movies, complete movies from beginning to end there without bringing anybody from Austin. And then all of them just came here last year when I finished was shooting my last feature film, Finding Solace. So I have a team, writers, and we create the work there. And that's what happened. It's like I created this relationship with those guys in 2006. And I was like, we got to make movies in Europe because we have access. So not just Spain, Australia, Russia, Switzerland. I did a project in Switzerland. So there's a lot of access that we have because of my relationship with those guys over there.
That's awesome. So you have a lot of projects that are happening, and Joe wants to know what your process. I'd love to know his process, is what he says, and what's next for him. So we'll get to what's next, but he would love to know your process of how you go about choosing a project, everything, as much as you'd like to share.
Okay. It depends on the project at this point in time now. But oh man, that's okay. So I'm a writer as well. So almost every film that I've done in the past 5-7 years or so, I wrote as well. So then I wrote it, I produced it, and I've directed and starred or co-starred in most of them. So it all depends on how much money am I raising? Are we doing a short film, or am I doing a feature film? And am I working with talent that I really want to work with? Meaning, am I working with a specific actor? So I'll write something specific for that actor or that actress. Is it a story that I really want to tell, that means something specific to me, like my short film Light, that's done really well kind of globally in the film festival circuit. I was already going to Barcelona to make another movie. So I wrote Light for Austin and Barcelona because it was going to be the first time that I can make a movie in both of those places.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Through character, which would be me. So it's not like, hey, he just produced this movie in Barcelona and he put Motivate's name on it. I wanted people to really know that I was producing movies in both of those places. So I was able to go there and do that. So my process was, let me write this story, let me put the team together, let me make sure that we have the time to get this done and allow for everybody to kind of come together and make this process happen. As with Motivate and trying to build and establish ourselves, not just an independent film company, because I want to grow out of the independent world, it's important to do a significant project that puts our name out there. But I'm that guy that goes, I want to put out enough work that gives us multiple opportunities for us to be seen and spotlighted, and opportunities to grow into the next level. So I'll do 2 or 3 projects in Spain with my filmmakers there based on their ideas that I'll produce. And then I'm working on maybe one big one here, like a feature, or 2 short films, which I don't really do a ton of short films anymore. So it's all like, here's what the process is going to look like for the next year. If we get all of those films done, we can establish a Motivate Picture screening. For the last 3 years, I've done Motivate Picture screening. So we have our own kind of red carpet. And then I'll highlight 4 or 5 of those films. I invite folks in so they can see them. I invite investors in so they can see them, in hopes that is going to translate into a new opportunity for us to get financing for a bigger project. My team I have a creative team that I have a list of projects that we are in development for, and we'll go through that process, say what's next, what do we need, what kind of process, what kind of film would be the next in our process that's going to establish us in a certain way. And then we go into the development sides of that. I try to find money for that, which is incredibly challenging to do. And then we make our movies, and we try to get an outlet out there as much as we possibly can. So the process is just kind of consistent with just doing the work. And it's hard for me to sit still. So I'll take on a lot more than I probably should sometimes, and put a lot on my plate. So it's hard for me to sit still, because I'm always like, here, we got more and we can show more. So if anybody else says, what's next, there's always something next. So that's kind of sort of my process, I guess.
How many do you usually film through each year?
If I'm putting both sides together, let's just say over the last 3 years, if I'm putting both Barcelona and Austin together, I'm averaging a minimum of 4 a year. I have 8 short films currently in the can, done, that haven't seen the light of day at all, haven't done anything with them. I have a feature film that I'm just releasing now, and I am in pre-production for 2 films and 2 films that are waiting, right? So my goal was always to say, hey, I have a film in development, a film in pre-production, a film in production, and a film in post. That's a lot. That's insane.
That is a lot.
But that's what my goals are. And because I have access to the filmmakers that I have, then those guys can be making films in Barcelona and or here, and I don't have to physically be there all of the time. So it's a little bit easier for me. I shouldn't say easy, that's not the right word. since I don't have to physically be there like a producer generally is all the time, I can do multiple projects at one time because I have people that I trust that's getting the work done, and then I'm constantly zooming and on connected with them in whatever way I need to be to make sure those projects are getting taken care of.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you had something in every stage of development? Like at what point do you think you got to where the machine was, well lubricating, kind of moving that way?
Probably 3 years ago. And I've been working at this like we all have for a very, very, very long time. But once I was really able to, it kind of became like, trial and error for a while. Like, I was happy just to get a film made at one point in time. Like, it was happy just like, we got that one. Like, let's see what we got to do with this movie. We spent a year just trying to do something with, this 10-minute piece of material, which really worked and it was great. But ultimately, because again, as I get older, I just don't have a whole lot of time to kind of waste. So I'm like, how can, once this one is done, what's next? And what's next wasn't forget about what we just made. It's okay. Now that this is here, I know what I want to do with this one. I want to get it out there. I want to get an audience for this one. But while I'm getting an audience for this one, we should be working on something else. And when I start talking to the team, they go, okay, what else? And they go, Mo, I have an idea, or we should do this, or we can be getting this done while you're doing that. Okay, let's make that happen. What is that going to do for us? What kind of time frame are we talking about? And next thing you know, it just started to work. And because, between Alex, between Frank, between Adam Yavlowski, who is another young up and coming action filmmaker, Ben, you'd love Adam. I should send you some of his stuff, man. We like, that's his focus, his action movies, and he is dope. And I just shot a film called Angel of Death with him. And I'm a military soldier, and it all takes place in this jet, this fighter plane. And he's great. And he goes, I got this. And he just got his master's degree at SCAT, which is the top filmmaking school in Europe. And so he's like, I got these ideas. I'm like, go with it. And he got his team, and we put it together. And once we do that kind of thing, it's just a little easier because there are multiple people working on those individual projects. So it's not just me and someone else trying to do 4 or 5 projects at one time.
Yep.
I can have other people do that who are really, really skilled and talented to make that happen. So I got the best team in the world. Like, I know those guys are great. I'm blessed because I got people who can actually do all of these things. And Alex edits all my films. He's a cinematographer, he directs, he edits, he does my websites. Like, this dude, we talk about somebody like Danielle, like he's a Swiss Army knife. He's like Danielle. He can do anything all the time. And that's really, really, it's been incredibly beneficial for me. And we have a 20-year relationship. So we've really learned to work, which also allows me to be in my movies, right? As an actor director, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But Alex, being my cinematographer, he knows me as well as anyone. Mm-hmm. So I can go and step on the other side of the camera, and I know that I'm going to get what I need as an actor because he and I have such a connection, and he can give me some feedback that allows me to do the things that I need to do. And worry about that.
That actually goes back to something you were talking about earlier. We were talking about having the right people on the team, but there's some people who don't want to be a director or a producer. They're doing that because they want to get an opportunity to act, right? Realistically, they want to be actors. And what's funny is we got a term for that. We call it glam directing. Because you don't really want to be a director. You really want to be the lead, and you're directing or you're producing just to get that time. And we've all done it and we all do it, but normally we don't have a well calibrated team behind us to make that happen. And so a lot of times the project suffers. So it's awesome that you have the right people around you that you can trust. And so, like, here's the vision, here's what we're going to do. Let me get over here and do my job. I'm trusting you to do your job. Like, that's the key right there. That's awesome.
What's really dope about that is, like I said, I have a great team, including an incredible composer, Dave Worth. So it all trickles down, right? But I love directing. Am I good at it? I don't know, man. I hope so. I like to think that I'm pretty good at it, but I love directing. And like I said, my least favorite is producing, but I still love that. And the reason why I bring that up is, as much as I want to be an actor, telling a visual story and being the guy behind the camera and having that eye is really, really crucial to me because of the visual aspect. But I also get to work with actors, right? I get to challenge these actors and put them in positions to help them be what they need to be within this story. And that's really important to me. But the producer side, based on what you're saying, is one of the most important parts to me is I actually get to hire people. That's the greatest thing in the world,
Awesome.
right? I get to actually give opportunities. So Alex is getting ready to direct his first feature film, but he's directed, 80 short films. The dude is amazing. But I get to say, hey, Alex, and he never asked me for anything. I said, hey, I got a movie for you. You're directing it. Here it is. Read the script. Tell me if you want it. Because now I get to just sit back and be a producer. And I told him, I'm going to produce the heck out of this film because I want you to succeed, because I want people to see you as the next thing. And that part is really important to me. So I don't do any of the things because I want to be in front of the camera, do these things. As an actor, when I first started out, I needed to work as an actor. I really wanted to do that. But as time went on and I grew into understanding what I think my calling is to create and to bring people together, to motivate, to storytell, no matter what avenue that storytelling comes from, writing, directing, producing, acting, and it doesn't matter. So there's no envy. There's no, I need to be seen. There's no jealousy. I don't need to be in my movies. If there's something that I need to do or want to do in my movies, it's simply because that's a choice I make. But if I get a chance to create and produce and let other people work, that is 100% dope for me. And I'll save other projects because I really want to do that particular project. But I'll put as many people to work as I possibly can. Adam Jablowski, hey dude, what's the next film that we're going to do so you can actually do this? That's why I produce in Barcelona. I do it because I want those guys to work. If I didn't want to do that, I wouldn't be sending resources and doing the things over there. I'd keep it all here and let's make this movie. But it's no, let's figure out what's good for us as a company and as a team. And that's how that comes about.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love, our tagline is if we can't do business, there is no show. And part of doing business is making a viable product so that we can get the money to do the next project so you can hire more people. Mm-hmm. So we love hearing people who enjoy doing that show loyalty to the day ones and that are going out of their way to produce something that allows you to hire and cut. I tell people all the times, my favorite day is the day I'm cutting checks, not for me, but to other people, because it means I did something valuable and worthwhile. If I'm able to have enough money to pay you, that means if we got together and did something that had actual true value. And I think that's what I agree with you. I think that's why I'm here. I don't know about everybody else, but I think that's what I'm on earth to do.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. I agree with you.
Purpose to help other people have a light, let their light shine. I think all of us have a similarity in this market that we're in right now, in the Austin market especially, and elevating each other in a way that is not typical, because Hollywood's Hollywood. So I don't know what you mean when you say I want to advance out of indie, but I want you to tell me what that means in a second.
Okay, sure.
But we all see talent here. We see opportunity. And a lot of it is fragmented and trying to help each other to have more visibility, not necessarily have our light shine all the time, but have other people's light shine. But to bring this community together a little bit cohesively is one of those things that is a passion for this group in particular. And so whatever we can do to help you to do more of that, vice versa, yeah, let's make that happen a little bit more. Go ahead.
I'd love to do that in any capacity that we can figure out how to connect that way. And let me say this, because this is really important for me to share when it comes to Breathe, and we're talking about giving opportunities.
Yeah.
98%, I'll say, almost 99% of the actors that are in Motivate Pictures films are all Breathe actors. It is my job, my goal, my calling to, like I said, create actors that can go toe to toe with the best actors in the world. But since I have an acting studio and I can help develop these actors, then it's important to me to put these actors to work. And so all my films that you see, you'll know these folks because I cast them, because it's important that they're going to come work with me and they've gotten to a place to where they can really carry a film and carry a character. I want to put them to work. Don't just come in and pay me to train you and then you're still out there searching for a job and hoping to get cast. I have an avenue, and Breathe is for me a factory moving into Motivate, and they go hand in hand. And when actors do get a chance to step away and go outside of Austin to work, LA, New York, Atlanta, those kind of things, they're still going to have a home to come back to. And I've helped them go away and do that. And then they come back and we'll work together and build something again. And so that's me trying to give back to this community that, like you're saying, that I think is so incredible, because we are in Austin, and I chose to come back here. I could have stayed in LA. I chose to come back here because I believe that I could build something here that could be sustainable and successful here with the talent. And a part of me doing that isn't just, hey, let me try to make movies. It's, hey, I can help talent grow into something and really be a part of feeding the system by giving them opportunities. So that's really, really important to me. Really important.
That's awesome. I want to make sure we get some takeaways from this though. So from the acting side and from the business side, producing, directing, whatever collaboration side, can you give me like one of each of some things that you're seeing in the Austin, Central Texas area that maybe is lacking? Like what are some things you're seeing that maybe a small tip for actors and a tip for producers out here?
I don't want to get in trouble. Like I don't want to say something that's make people mad. I'll be truthful. But I don't mean it in any kind of negative way. When I lived in LA, one of the things that used to bother me the most, and this really, really bugged me, because when I lived here the first time, they were calling Austin Little Hollywood. Again, I don't know how long you guys have been here, but this is when Rodriguez was just getting started, and this is when they were making Miss Congeniality, and Texas Ranger was here. Like this was early stages when people were working, like TV shows were here. And when I moved to LA, I used to talk about Austin all the time. 5 years into my LA life, people were talking about Austin, but in a different way in LA. And they were talking about the actors being lazy and they entitled and they weren't skilled. Ooh. And I was like, I was mad. It was driving me crazy because that was not the Austin that I knew. And I'm like, how dare you talk about my peoples? I was there. That's not what was happening. But then every now and then I could kind of sort of see what was kind of sort of happening. And I had multiple actors talk to me and say, hey, Mo, can I meet with you? And I want to know if you think I should move to LA because, and there's only one actor out of probably 50 people I sat down with at any given time that I said, hey, I think right now you could go to LA and do okay, do well. Everybody else, I was like, hey, you know what? There's probably a little bit more work you can do here in Austin. But those people went to LA anyway. And then the reason why that was frustrating to me is like, then I get the phone calls of, Mo, I shouldn't have come out here. But then their Instagram goes, actor life. And I'm like, yeah, but you're at the beach. You're not on set.
No.
The reason why that, and I'm sorry, I apologize, but the reason why I say that is because as actors, based on what I was saying before, I don't know if all the actors are taking this art, this craft as seriously as they should. And because there's so many, it's the opportunities are so few and far between.
Okay.
Afford to miss an opportunity when you do get that pretty decent audition, when these good casting directors are stepping up for you and getting you in front of these filmmakers or these producers, and then we don't have the skill set that really allows us to separate ourselves from the average, and then we're upset about it or don't know, or our agent isn't doing enough for us, and that kind of thing. I'm going, no, you're not developed yet because you're not taking it as serious. And so for actors, again, especially if opportunities are going to show up based on what happened yesterday and the bills are passing, and we got to be ready.
They're coming.
We got to be ready because they're coming. Otherwise, they're going to be shipping talent in like they have been from other places when that talent pool is right here. And I would want that to stay here, and people really speak about us in a way of going, hey, we can compete with anyone. From the producer side of things, and I certainly say this respectfully because making movies is hard, man. Like, it's hard. So we also have to make sure that when we're making movies, we're making them not just for us, we're making them for an audience, because and unless you got endless resources, then the product that we're putting out there is what needs to lead to the next opportunity that you get, which means the quality of the work that we put out there. We should be open to making sure that the people that we're surrounding ourselves with are the people that are being honest with us about the story and the content and the quality of the work. So when we put it out there, the right people can see it and gives us another opportunity. Sometimes I feel we surround ourselves by individuals that's going to tell us we're great just because they don't want to hurt our feelings or because we're friends, and as opposed to, you don't have to go, that was terrible, but there are, hey, great job you getting that done. And next time for the next project, if you're asking my advice, man, I tell you, storytelling, there's maybe a tightening of the screenplay just a little bit more. Let's focus on that. I was almost there with you, but I missed this beat a little bit with these things, just so we can continue to grow as producers and filmmakers. But if everybody's telling us everything is always great, then we don't even know what we need to work on. And I see that happen a lot with what I think a potential great filmmakers and storytellers can be, but I'll see several of their projects and they all suffer from the same issue. And it's because they haven't gotten information that this one thing isn't working so much. So they're comfortable doing this one thing. And then I go, well, you're not going to grow, and people aren't going to see you growing and advancing to where they are going to want to come in and finance some things for you or give you that next opportunity. And I want to see people succeed. And so as producers and filmmakers, it's important that we're surrounding ourselves by the people that are going to help us get to that next level. If that's your goal, it's always my goal. So maybe me, but that's what my goal is, and I can't do that. If I'm the smartest cat in the room, we are screwed.
That's the wrong room.
It's the wrong room.
Yeah, no, but that's actually it's interesting when you talked about LA, because I did LA for a bit, came back, and when I went out there, I was out there primarily doing the fight choreography and the stunt stuff, and I got out to the gym and I'm looking at these dudes and I'm going like, I'm in the room, and that's Aaron Toney, who's like stunt double, I think, for like either Black Panther or Captain America, one of them or something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's the dude I gotta go to audition against, the guy that runs the gym that I'm training at. Okay. And I used to tell my friends that once I went there and I came back for some different reasons, for some family reasons, I was like, you're not even a big fish in a small pond yet. And you want to go to the ocean with the sharks. If you don't have an end over there, you're prepared. You are setting yourself up for some trial and tribulation. Because I also learned that the energy, I met good people when I was there, but I also met I met some cornballs.
Sure.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie about it. I met some shiesty individuals. I met some cornballs, but also I get it because these people are so used to seeing people come out there, and they're not ready.
Right.
And these dudes is like, this is how I make my living. I'm trying to, this is my life. And you're showing up as a yokel and you're not taking it seriously. They're not going to be respectful. And a lot of them aren't going to have that kind of patience that you might have on a set here or with people, filmmakers here. So I 130% co-sign everything you just said because I've seen all of it happen.
Yeah.
Here we have like workouts, people go to the gym, you get a gig from stunt guys, this whatever. Over there, we're paying $30, $50. We're paying money to go to hustles where you get a chance to give someone your headshot and maybe shake a hand. We're paying money, $50 to go to a stunt workout for an hour or two. So this dude just scooped up 20, 30, $2 or $3 grand running a little workshop for an hour or two because you're trying to get in front of this producer. You're trying to get in front of this guy. So here in Texas, you don't normally have to do all that. So I try to tell people like, man, you got to milk this for everything it's worth before you head out there and want to deal with the cannibals, bro.
Yeah. People think it's easy, and that bothers me especially about acting, not necessarily producing and directing, but especially about acting. A lot of folks, sometimes sit at home and they see what folks do on TV and they go, I can do that, and then they may be a little cute, they maybe have some hotness to them, and they think, nah, I got the look. I got a guy that ran into me the other day, said the same thing, because I've never acted before, but somebody told me who you were and that I should come and talk to you because I know that you produce movies and you have classes. And my friends told me that I should be an actor because I got this look. And he's a handsome guy. And he's a handsome guy and has nice eyes. And I'm going, so you coming to talk to me?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you got work to do. If you want to really talk to me about what work are you willing to do to get to a place to where anybody would even want you to be in front of them, as opposed to it looks easy and I like the idea of being an actor. That doesn't work for me.
We get the same thing with when you talk fight choreography and stunts with people. One, they think being the stunt guy is the same as being the action hero, and I'm like, no, the stunt guy is the guy whose face you didn't see, who got thrown over the table. First and foremost, that's what you're going to be doing. A lot of that. I said, second of all, great, you can do a backflip. Can you do that backflip 30 times in a row the same way? Because that's what they're going to need you to do on set. It's not, can you do it once? Anybody can do a move once. To do stunts, you have to be able to do it safely, accurately, repetitively. And people are repeatedly. Many people don't know that, but it's the same thing as the acting side. It looks easy when you see the final cut, but you didn't see the 45 takes that they had to do to get that one cut. So.
And it also reduces the folks that have done the work to be the best actors that they can be or the best stunt people they can be. For anyone to just show up thinking that they can just do what we do, or it takes away from the folks that spend all their time and their focus doing this. If it seems as simple as anybody could do it. And that bothers me, because it's important to me that people understand the craft and the amount of work and time to master what it is that we do. So taking that for granted is that I have a real issue with that.
Off topic. I feel the same way about rap music. I'm not a professional rapper, but I came up in Killeen, Texas. Okay. We used to freestyle. Okay. We all thought we had bars. And I would hear musicians. I would hear people. So it's funny. Moving to Austin was funny because in Killeen, I'd hear people say, yo, I'm a musician, I'm a rapper, I'm this. And I listen to their stuff and be like, yo, this ain't even good. This is, let alone professional. Like, this is not good. And then when I got to Austin and you had like real musicians and they would say that, and I'd be skeptical. Right. And then you're like, oh, I'm in a different place. And these people really do take this music very seriously, and they are very, very good. So I had to like change my view of when people say that to me, like to start taking them seriously. But I feel the same way. As like anybody could pick up a microphone and say something, and you might even have a cool line, and you might even have a cool voice, but that doesn't make you a rapper because you're not a professional and you do not take it seriously like a professional
Hey,
does. And I
man,
think
there are some rappers out there that don't need to be out
that is
there.
very true.
Just
Look,
saying.
I agree with you, and I don't call them rappers because I'm like, dude, if I can freestyle better than your written verse,
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
to put the mic down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put it down.
Yeah. You know, a while back, I was acting a while back, and then I was doing, I was doing well and doing great, and then breast cancer hit me, and after that, the creativity and everything's still there. What I notice is, and you mentioned it, you kind of alluded to it a little earlier. My reading is very different now. It's very hard for me, and it's almost like I need to go back to training to learn a new way to read. What was working for me before doesn't work the same. So yeah, so I might be knocking at your door
Please.
because I haven't gone back to any classes in years. So we'll
I'd
see
love to
how
work with you. That'd be fun.
that would be fun. I want to talk about really quick finding solace.
Sure.
Yeah, I would love for you to talk about it. Go
Uh,
ahead, elaborate for us.
it's done now. Finding Solace is a psychological thriller. So it came to me one way and it ended up in another way. So some folks brought me a script that was called something else and said, "Hey, Mar, I would love for you to produce this movie and direct it, and you should even be in it. So would you read the screenplay? And if you don't like the screenplay, you can do a rewrite to it." And when I read the screenplay, it had a lot of issues. You know, most screenplays do. So I talked about a kind of a complete rewrite. So I did a complete rewrite over the course of a year, and I was shooting another feature film at the time. So I did a rewrite to that screenplay over the course of a year. We're in the process of really getting ready to make this movie happen, and then a month, 3 weeks before we got ready to shoot, my funding got pulled, and that was not a fun thing. And we had everything was set, every locations were set, and everything was set, and so I had to work a little magic and find a significant amount of money in a very, very short period of time. And I was able to do that, talk to my team and said, "Hey, we're still going to make this movie no matter what." And I pushed back 6 months, and then we went into production a year and 2 months ago or so. And when I rewrote it as a psychological thriller. My two favorite movies of all time is Seven and The Usual Suspects. Okay. Those are my two favorite movies of all time. Okay. And so I decided I was going to put Seven and Usual Suspects kind of together and create this psychological thriller. But what was really important to me was I also had some social commentary that was very important to me to speak on. And that was some race issues that I still had kind of in the pit of my stomach based on some of the things that had happened in 2020. In 2020, I started writing a screenplay after George Floyd, and it was an angry, angry, angry piece of material. Like it was, and I was like, I cannot make this movie. I'm not even going to finish writing it. So I threw it away. And this story kind of showed up and gave me a chance to feed a little bit into that, just a little bit, while I was telling kind of a different story. And I was very excited to make this movie, and I shot it in Austin, Dripping Springs, Columbus, Texas, and somewhere else, and around Austin. And it's now done. I am currently doing the festival circuit. I did have a theatrical release opportunity for it, which I would do now after the festival circuit, because we've done so well over the last 2 years, in particular with these last two films globally with the festival circuits and some of the awards, and it's given us a ton of exposure and some acclaim that is just going to do nothing but help us more when we go out to the distribution world for this particular film. But it takes place around these two sisters who one is an estranged, two sisters who are estranged from each other. Am I saying that right? One lives in Austin and she's a police officer in Austin, and the other one is in small town Texas, and their father dies, and it brings them back together. When they come back together, there's something that's happening within the town that needs to be investigated. There's some deaths that are happening unexplained, and we find out that based on these deaths that are happening at the time that they're happening has something to do with these two sisters and something that happened a very long time ago. So all these worlds kind of collide at the same time, not knowing how they're connected. And when we find out how they're connected, being that it's a psychological thriller, is a pretty fun ending to this story that has, like I said, some social commentary to it.
Awesome. Ben, do you have the link?
Yeah, let me pull that up for us real fast.
All right, I'd love to.
Let's see what we got here.
The red sun rose this morning. Dark skies pronounce your warning. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Dances with the devil. Your power isn't special. We don't fit on your canvas. We burn it all to ashes. 'Cause we are the outlaws. 'Cause we are the outlaws.
That's a new one.
Yeah, you've been dancing with the devil. Be careful who you gunning for, cause when it settles, it's only pain and grief when you living lawless. We only chase it if the chance of profit's flawless. We keep our eyes on the weak, they know that they targets. Hunting for goodwill, we ain't looking for bargains. And you should say a prayer, ain't nobody praying for you. Cause if I want it, then it's mine, that's what I'm saying to you. If you faint hearted, you better leave. You try and cross me, then you dead to me. Cause I'm in the business of making enemies. Outlaws come alive in the nighttime.
This is just the beginning.
Awesome.
Okay, sir. Okay,
That
sir.
was awesome.
Yeah, it looked great. I mean, that was legit looking, man.
Thank
I
you.
see some friends' names. Kelly Dealing. I used to be in
Yeah.
acting classes with her. We got Marissa, our buddy, and Peggy saw it. Yeah.
The homie
awesome.
Layla. I saw Layla there for a second.
Layla was there. All right.
Yeah.
All my peoples, like
Yeah.
all my peoples.
No, that's awesome. And what you said is really awesome. I've watched people like Ben Stiller, watch people like, Will Ferrell. They're comedy people, but I like the way that you see them pop up in each other's movies. That unity, that harmony is dope. And there's a bunch of other groups like that where you'll see 4 or 5 movies and it's the same cast just rearranged. So
Yeah. Kelly and Peggy are in my last feature, The Place She Dwells, which is done great, which I'll be distributing here after this last festival that it's going to be in a couple of months. Marissa is one of my students, and she came in kind of at the last minute because I couldn't wait to cast her because we needed to fill that role, and she was dope. Everybody in the movie is great. Layla's been in 3 of my films, and she's going to star in one of my other features. It's going to come up here real soon. So yeah, I try to work with, like I said, all breathe actors, folks that I know. Like, I keep it in the family, man. Obviously I'm casting outside of that as well. But when I know that I got good talent and great support and people can do the work, then I want to put those guys to work.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Actually, to be honest, when we did the Chronicle short, Layla and Marissa stole the show. That is I don't even remember if Marissa was like my top choice for that particular role, but
She was.
she like, I mean, like
She
before
was.
before I'm talking about like before we even started. Like normally when I'm casting things, I kind of have somebody in mind
Right.
for
Right.
a role.
Oh.
And I'd seen her do something like that because I met her on an improv thing for Rodriguez because we were doing the Iron City thing. I was like, oh, she's real cool, and we stayed connected from that. But I had never seen her play the kind of role I needed her to play, like specifically. She killed it. Like she killed it. And then Layla, when you talk to her, I'm not going to say what happened, but there's something that happened on set that made Layla become one of my favorite actresses. She told me a story about her mom. That's all I'm gonna say. Ask her when you see her.
Okay.
But she said something to me on set, and I was like, "This chick's hardcore.
Yeah.
I love her. We're gonna be good forever."
So just real quick, Layla's one of my best friends in the entire world. Kelly's been one of my best friends for the last 10 years. Layla and Kelly both work at Motivate Pictures.
Oh, they do. Oh.
Okay.
Kelly has this very well, both of them have a very special place, but I've known Kelly for longer. So Kelly's got a very special place in my heart.
And me too. I was with her at lunch the other day. Layla and I were together on Saturday. Like when I say family, they're family. Peggy shot as well. I've known Peggy forever, and I'll put Peggy in everything I do as long as she is ready to work.
Yeah, she's great.
So yeah, these folks they're real family.
That's awesome.
And Ben, I definitely know what you mean about Layla. So I'll ask her about that, but I can only imagine.
She's cool bean.
She is for sure.
Yeah, I saw her when we started doing training for that particular project, and she came to the gym. She came out to the shout out to the Jungle Movement Academy out in Round Rock. There's the boys doing parkour and everything out there. We do a lot of training out there when we get ready for movies or whatever. It's a good central location. But she came out there and man, she was hitting that bag. And I was like, okay. I got her connected. She ended up getting connected with Janelle to do some legitimate martial arts training. But like she was not playing around. She really wanted to show herself as skilled when we got to the action. So she was willing to come out some extra days and actually train. And that's a big thing, specifically in the realm I'm normally working in, which is action. Is like, yeah, I can teach anybody where to be and where to swing, but like that snap, that violence, you got to hit a bag. You got to get some repetitions in normally to get that if you're not trained in combat. So I always give respect to anybody who's willing to come out and do those extra reps to get that. So shout out to Lil.
And Maurice, I wanted to say I admire what you've been able to do. When I first got into filmmaking, one of the biggest problems that I saw that people had was finding other people to be able to put the project together and get their work out there. And you've managed to do that over the years. I heard you say family. I've heard you say team several times. You've managed to do what so many filmmakers struggle with doing. So, I mean, what you've done with Motivate, I mean, it's amazing. You've done an amazing job. I gotta say that.
Thank you. That means
you've been around.
That means everything to me because you'll never see a post or anything that I say that is about me. Like I make sure that it is always about my team. And if I'm having some success, I'm making sure that I'm giving my team, my family a ton of credit because it says Motivate, and I created this whole that man. None of this happens without the people that I'm surrounded by. I got the dopest friends in the world, and I say it all the time. Like I am the richest cat on the planet because I got the best friends in the world. Like I am surrounded by the best people, and no matter what happens in my life, that makes me the richest person ever. And I know that I can't do any of this stuff without those guys. I'm the face, I guess, of that. But in the big scheme of things, the heartbeat of this is people like Kelly and Layla and Alex Rios for sure, and Frank Rios. Those are the people that make this whole thing work. I'll just get out there and then tell everybody I'm trying to talk to or get money from that I got these great people. That's why you want to get behind this. It's not me, it's these people here. So I really appreciate you saying that because it does mean a lot to me because they deserve their shine. They deserve their light, and I want to be a part of giving that to them.
That is awesome.
That is
Awesome.
that's amazing.
One more thing before I don't know if we're wrapping up in a second, because I know we're hitting the mark. The Black International is it the Black Indie Film Association taught us a little bit about how you became the executive. You're vice president. You're president, right?
Executive vice president on the
Vice
board.
president
On the board.
On the board. That's right.
On the board. Yeah. This is great. This is something I'm really proud of, to be honest with you. They're in Houston. And it was created by an incredible gentleman who has now become a bit of a mentor to me. His name is Thomas Carter. And they started, I guess, technically 2 years ago. And last October, they had their first film festival, which is the BIFA Film Festival. And I had submitted to them both my feature film and my short film of The Place She Dwells and Light. And I got accepted for both of those movies. And then the film festival was happening in October, and they contacted me because after seeing the work, they wanted to make sure that they knew that they were actually going to honor me there. And they also wanted me to speak and do a couple other things. And so this was huge for me. And it was their inaugural event. And they really stepped up. I mean, some film festivals, you kind of go, what am I doing here? This group and what they created was really a beautiful, beautiful event. And I ended up winning this one here, Best Director for The Place She Dwells. And after we spent that weekend together, and I connected with some of the folks, Mr. Carter reached out to me afterwards and talked to me about collaborating. And he told me what their vision was for BIFA long term. And most of their vision outside of building the great film festival was doing some really great things in the community, especially with young up and coming storytellers. So storytelling from all aspects, writing, directing, acting. And he is ingrained in the community. He is set on especially making sure that the young folks have an opportunity. And that was huge for me. And the fact that he engaged with me and said, hey, I would love for you to be a part of it in any kind of way that you feel like you can be a part of it, because I know that you're busy. I was like, look, I'm all in. Just let me know what you guys are looking for. And when I have the time and availability, I'll make it work. So we started spending time working on some things and talking about some stuff. And next thing you know, I get an invitation to be on the board and to connect with them in a much more substantial way. And I really had to kind of take a moment to think about it, because he said some things to me about the future. And I thought it was really exciting. But at the same time, I go, wait, I run Motivate, I run Breathe, I got Spain. I don't know if I got time. I love this idea, but I'm spread a little thin. But because of who it was, because of this gentleman and what I knew they were trying to do, I was like, I got to be a part of this. And so I signed on. And now we collaborate together, Motivate Pictures and BIFA, and almost everything that we do. The next film festival is October 3rd, I think. We will do a special screening for Finding Solace there. But we just teamed up with Texas Southern University to start doing some things with their film students. So I'll be some workshops with them. I'm going to go and teach some stuff with them. And there's this young adult program that we're putting together, We've Got Next, which is what it's called. And it's all about what we can do and how we can create and build the community of artists so they have a voice and an outlet. And I'm excited to be a part of what they're doing, and then bringing them to be a part of what I'm doing. And we'll produce some films together. We've talked about that. So we'll produce some movies together, and then we'll open up some opportunities. So BIFA is really great. So whenever you guys see any of the posts that I'm going to be doing, I'll be posting some things about BIFA as well, because that collaboration is important to me.
Awesome.
Cool. Very, very cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Well, there was a question, Daniel, you asked earlier about getting out of indie, or I'm not sure what the wording was.
I'm
not sure on the board. You might want to clarify what that means exactly.
Yeah. I'll let you go where you think you want to go with that one. And so I'm listening.
So what I mean by that, and I mean this respectfully,
Yes.
I love filmmaking, period. Like I said, I'm a movie junkie. Making independent films, making any film is hard. Making independent film is really, really, really hard, especially as a producer, because I got to go find the money. I got to figure out how to get an outlet for it. It's really, really, really hard. And to do that once or twice is a challenge. To do that every single project for 50 years, it can take its toll, as opposed to wanting your work, my work, to grow into studio opportunities, even though I'm not loving the studio system, but studio opportunities where there is more resources available to make the types of movies that I really feel like we are capable of making. Doing a small indie film is really important, and it can connect with a lot of people, but doing a bigger film that has more resources, I wouldn't even say a studio film, but still has the same heart as an indie film, is what I really want to do. Right. So I actually model Motivate Pictures, and it's in my deck and everything. So I model Motivate Pictures after A24, for example. And that's really important to me, because I feel like they do a bunch of different genres, but they understand who they are, and they have their heart. They stay within their world, so everything doesn't feel like some superhero movie and that kind of thing. So I want to make sure that we move into, as Motivate, move into we're growing constantly into different levels of work that we do. I can pay people better. I can produce better film. It's not about having more money to produce bigger. It's having more resources to expand, especially our audience. And that's not an easy thing either, but doing it in the independent world with very, very little money. And the one thing that I have gotten very, very good at is making pretty decent movies with no money. And I say that respectfully, but it is not what I enjoy doing. Like, I don't want that
Yeah.
to be my calling, right? He's really just give him $20. He can turn it into, no, bro. Like, that's hard to do, man. It's like,
Well, would you I'll throw something your way, because I would imagine you've already thought about this, but would you think that because of the climate of Hollywood and right now, the way people are looking at it, that and people moving here as well, um, creating a new ecosystem and new alliances, which is what one of the things you're doing, and we've talked about that. Me and my team has talked about, you're doing something that I think has not necessarily been expanded on, and one of those things is the collegiate levels. What you're tapping into artists that and talent that is overlooked, and a lot of those ecosystems have a lot of money in them, that has been overlooked as well. And that may be a minority focus. I'm not necessarily believing that completely. There's a whole bunch of different realms in there, but there's an opportunity to me right now to create a new ecosystem for management, talent that you're actually doing it with your studio, casting, as well as funding, that I don't think is I call it the boutique system, that is not being exploited the way I think it could be exploited. So I don't know if what you think about that, if I'm making sense.
You're making complete sense. And for me, I because it's independent world, and one of the things I do love about the independent world is having a certain amount of control. Like I can go to different areas and places and work with different individuals without somebody telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
And so that gives me the flexibility to go and find these hungry young individuals that really want to do something dope, and otherwise they don't have any real outlets except for to fall right into the system, right?
Yeah.
Where they can get lost and get frustrated and get jaded and all those kind of things that happen. So everything that you're saying is actually a part of what I think about doing on a daily basis. And as a matter of fact, I had a meeting 2 hours before I had this call with my composer, who also is moving into doing some producing. And that exact thing that you're talking about, I think I fundamentally found a new way for distribution in that area that I don't want to speak on right now until I kind of have some things in that way. But it starts in exactly the way that you're talking about, tapping into the young ecosystem and a way to do some things based on what's already kind of established out there, but taking a bit of a different angle with it. And if I don't think about those things, if we don't think about those things, then it's easy for us to also get lost in the shuffle, because everything else is really big and you got to have a name and a star, and you got to do all these things in a certain way. We're already behind the 8 ball when it comes to how we get our seen and get our projects funded and those types of things. So it's important for me to try to tap into any opportunity and any resource I can, just to keep working, so things don't become so complicated that I have to find a way to, or give this whole thing up, which will never happen. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. You're 100% right about that. And there's a lot of resources out there. We just have to keep figuring out how to find what those resources are, not just financial resources, but talent and people who are, like I said, way smarter than me, that can go, hey, Mo, but if you do this, this could happen. If you, I go, I thought about that. And that's crucial. That's crucial.
Yeah.
Is there like just a quick question. Did you have like a target range, like oh my goodness, it was, I forget his name, Kevin Smith has like a certain like budget range he stays in. He makes the movie, it's whatever it is, but it always turns a profit, right? He might make $1 million movie, he's gonna make $20 million on that movie. Is there like a budget range that's ideal for you that you think you'd want to be in, or do you want to go like Inception blockbuster, or is like, hey man, if I could get consistently like 5-10 million, I could just churn out some quality projects here?
All right, so this is a great question for me specifically, because I kind of like to say this out loud because I don't get a really chance to talk about it so much. One of the things that I have found to be really interesting, at least being in Austin, is when I tell people what I want to do and the level I want to be on. I had somebody tell me, who a person I respect tremendously and is a producer in this town, goes, wow, you think really big, Mo. And I'm going, don't you think like that? You want to make 10,000 movies all the time? And I wasn't even making fun. It was just kind of weird, because I'm going, isn't that the way that we're supposed to be thinking? And I say that in the sense of, what my current budget range is one thing, because we're in the independent world, and trying to find any dollars is tough. So you stay within an amount where you feel like you can actually raise that and find that money somewhere. But I'll give you a kind of a quick sense. I have a deal in place right now. And I kind of worked through the studio, like the studio system, because one of my mentors was the former president of Universal, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so I have a 3-picture slate, and there's a dollar amount for the 3 movies, and it's broken up between the 3 movies. And that 3-picture slate allows me to have the investors to have 3 different opportunities to make themselves whole. So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket for one film that has to do something at a certain budget range, which is really challenging. We get 3 possibles to do that. And each one of those budget ranges kind of grows throughout each project. So the first one starts at whatever, and it grows. But neither one of those films are more than, I think, 1.5 based on that. Okay. But my next film that I'm working on, that I already have the script for, is a $50 million film. And I'm in the process of dealing with folks to get that done. I am currently, and has been hired currently, to write a very, very, very significant Hollywood movie. So I'm currently writing a big I guess it would be considered a big budget based on us writing this movie. And thank you. It's a big deal. It's important. It's based on a true story. So my world isn't, is there a certain number? My world is the stories that show up, the stories that I want to tell. I want whatever access to the resources to make that movie. So it's not about the budget range. I'll happily do a Moonlight style budget, $2 to $4 million to tell a story like a Moonlight or a Whiplash. I'm all in for that. It'd be incredible and great. But if I want to do my sci-fi, action film or the films and it costs $50 million, then I need to figure out how to get in that world to tell this story. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be a storyteller. I want to tell whatever stories are possible for me to tell. And I love Mission Impossible. So I'm a junkie for those kinds of movies. If I can make Mission Impossible, then I want to make Mission Impossible. I'm not the guy that goes, no, I just want to tell my little, I want to do that too. I want to make movies. I'm a movie junkie, and whatever shows up is what shows up, as long as it falls within the realms of what Motivate Pictures' mission is. And Motivate Pictures is there for a reason. I'm a storyteller, and I want to tell stories that people can go away with and really, truly be connected to and have some dialogue about once they leave my movies, and inspire them to want to be a storyteller themselves or see the next film because they're getting something from it. And those budgets range from, $1 million to $50 million, especially if I got the right way of getting it out to the masses. And sometimes it's hard to get tiny budgeted films out to the masses. So we need bigger budgeted films to get into more movie theaters. So that's kind of what my process is. But I'm not afraid to say I want to do major budgeted films. It's just part of the process for me.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
It's awesome.
That is so awesome. Well, Maurice, thank you so much for being with us today. We very much appreciate it. This has been amazing to talk to you. I feel like I've been learning a lot this past hour and a half. So I wanted to ask, was there any last information or anything you wanted to share before we go ahead and let you go?
I'm just grateful. I'm blessed because you guys even asked me to be a part of this and let me have a voice on your incredible show, and for me to be able to recognize my team and the opportunities that I have. I just want to say thank you, because I'm just grateful and I'm blessed, and hopefully I get a chance to work with each one of you, either collectively as one big team or individually with separate projects. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and y'all keep doing what you're doing, because this is really dope. And I got a lot of respect for you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to say we feel the same way. We're so blessed to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's do it again. I'm all for it.
Let's do it.
Next film. I got you.
All right.
Absolutely. Awesome. Keisha, you want to close?
Any of your social media, or where people can find you, or Finding Solace or anything like that?
Yes. On IG, there's a Finding Solace movie page. Also on IG, there's a Motivate Pictures page, which is I'm really bad at this. It is motivate.pictures. That's the Motivate Pictures page. There's also my personal Motivate page, or my personal Maurice page, which is Maurice.motivate. And then you can connect with me there, and on IG as well, Breathe Acting Studio. I'm there on IG as well. And on Facebook, it's just Maurice Moore. And also on Facebook, it's just Motivate Pictures.
Habla español. Do you need to tell your Spain's friends?
if I do that and you guys knew how bad my Spanish was, then you'd be like, why does he have a company in Spain? So I won't even go there. I won't even go there. But thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. We'll put some captions at the bottom.
Yeah, well, we're going to translate it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Keisha, you want to close this out?
Yes. Thank you all so much for tuning in for our podcast today. And remember, Austin Action Fest is where the action is.